this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder that Capital One Bank Guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also tell you about how Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
We've all tumbled down an internet rabbit hole trying to self-diagnose, and it leaves us more anxious than informed. Our feeds are full of wellness trends, but how do we know what's real, what's exaggerated, and what's just wrong? Health versus Hype from the American Medical Association breaks it all down. Emmy-nominated science communicator Trace Dominguez talks to doctors, influencers, and real people trying these trends, not to cancel them, but to understand them. Because when it comes to your health, who you listen to matters. So listen to Health versus Hype wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Josh here with this week's SYSK Selects. I've chosen Who Was America's First Murderer? It's a classic episode from 2011, and it has history, even more history, and at its heart, it's a true crime story. Plus, it's just straight up interesting. And we did record this 10 years ago, so if some of the words or language that we use seems a little out of date, please forgive us. The world has changed tremendously in the last decade. I hope you enjoy this one as much as we do, because it's a great one.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark. There's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and this is Stuff You Should Know. Episode 398.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm saying it is.
Oh, okay.
So now it's episode 398.
Episode 3 something.
3-9er-8er.
That's good, Josh. Is that your intro? Mm-hmm. Rockin' and a rollin', splishin' and a splashin'. Over the horizon, what could it be? Look like it's gonna be a new country. You remember that one?
No, what are you talking about?
That was
I genuinely have no idea what
that
you
was
mean.
the Schoolhouse Rock for the Mayflower voyage.
Wow, really?
Rockin' and a rollin', splishin' and a splashin'. You remember that?
Keep going.
Oh, man. Over the horizon, what could it be?
Mm-hmm.
Look like it's going to be a free country.
Nice.
Or new country. Either way. It was both new and free.
Probably new.
Yeah.
Because it was not free for everybody.
That's true.
Yeah. So you're talking about this because we're going to talk about the first murderer, right?
Yeah, and before we start, I want to ask, why has no one ever made a modern film about the Mayflower voyage? It seems like a no-brainer. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially
I just
after
haven't gotten around to it yet.
Like the awesomeness of Master and Commander. Did you ever see that?
The one with
Russell Crowe?
Yeah, it was very good. Oh, surprisingly good.
Yeah, it surprised me too, actually.
But I didn't get the colon. It made it sound like it was a franchise, but it was like the first of the franchise. It wasn't like I guess Pirates of the Caribbean did have a colon, the first one, didn't it?
I don't know.
Huh.
But that was Peter Weir, Master and Commander, so it makes sense that it was awesome because he's such a great director.
Mm-hmm. And related to Bob Weir, I think.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I've always suspected. Did he do The Truman Show?
That was written by the
Bob
guy
Weir.
who did Gattaca. I don't know who directed that. That might have been Peter Weir. But he did Gallipoli and scores of great movies.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for joining us at this discussion of Peter Weir's films.
He should direct the Mayflower movie, is what I'm saying, for goodness sakes.
Oh, okay.
They need to do it like a realistic... Because, when you learn about it in school, at least I did, I thought, you learn about it from Schoolhouse Rock, and you get the picture they just sang songs and kind of rock and rolled over the ocean and then ran into Plymouth Rock and shared Thanksgiving with the Indians, and they need to make a real movie about how it really was.
Well, yeah, because, that whole Schoolhouse Rock impression is pretty widely held, even among adults, educated adults.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because there's a very small amount of firsthand information that left Plymouth Colony, right? And was allowed to stand. There was a small group of people who were controlling all of the info about that place. And they were trying to paint it in as good a light as possible because they were trying to attract investors.
Yeah.
And these firsthand accounts that, basically painted the Puritans as, these hard scrapple people who were guided by a divine hand in the wilderness has stood all these centuries.
Hard scrapple?
Hard scrapple. So let's talk about the Pilgrims. The voyage, right? They landed in 1620, just as a quick primer.
So says you.
And they were Pilgrims. They were Puritans, separatists, as they were often called. They were people who were so pious that no one in all of Europe was pious enough to contend with them. And they were like, I'm sick of all you sinners. We're going to go found a new republic in the name and for the glory of God, and we're going to be really, really good, and we're going to do it in the New World.
Yep.
And that's what they did. They sailed over to Massachusetts and landed in Plymouth.
Yeah, as it turns out. Nice place to land, I imagine. And, are we going to get to the murderer guy right away, or should we just ease into that?
Well, let's talk about who was there. It wasn't just Puritans. It wasn't just separatists. There was a whole other group of people who don't get talked about a lot, and they were called the Strangers.
Yeah, that sounded really creepy when I read it for some reason.
I think it sounds cool.
I think it sounds creepy.
Like
cool.
They look like they should have been dressed in like the Pilgrim black,
right?
Like with wide brim hats so you can't see their eyes.
Yeah. What was the deal with them? Were they Catholic?
They were anything but the separatists, the Puritans. So they were Catholics. They were sailors. They were Africans. They were whoever, kidnapped Indians. I don't know if all those people were on the Mayflower, but there was a bunch of people.
Right. The
who
Puritans
got them over there, who went with them.
And the Puritans were pretty rigid, obviously. They didn't like Catholics at all.
They were indeed extremely rigid. But to this degree, as we'll see, they found that, nobody's this rigid. And there were a lot of strangers who broke a lot of laws, but there were a lot of Puritans who did too. And they just kind of glossed it over. They kept records, but these things just didn't get promoted, right?
Yeah, Mort's Relation.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Mort's Relation, written in 1622 by William Bradford, who was clearly the governor, longtime governor of Plymouth.
Right.
His cousin, George Morton, he was a separatist, and he wrote this book, or an account, and that's sort of looked at as the account of Plymouth. But as it turns out, as you point out, because you wrote this, Mort's Relation was written to attract funding.
Right.
For Plymouth. So
it was basically like a lengthy, in-depth brochure.
Yeah.
To attract investors. And what are you going to say? You're not going to say, we're starving to death over here.
Right.
We're having a really hard time. We're probably not going to make it.
People are committing bestiality.
Yes. Buggery is what they call that.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
They're not going to say this. They're going to say, things are great. We're really, living by God's will. We're really just making it over here. We need some more money.
Yeah.
So that's what they did.
So that means take it with a grain of salt.
But they didn't just pretend like the strangers weren't there, but they painted some of the strangers in possibly a less than flattering light, right?
Yeah. I mean, are we at the Billingtons then?
Might as well be.
The Billingtons, the family, John Billington, his wife, Eleanor, his sons, little John Jr.,
right,
and Francis, who was a boy, his other son. They were sort of painted as, like, reading your article, they sort of seem like, on one hand, like the first white trash,
That's one way to put it.
And then they also sort of seem like, no, they might have been kind of cool and just rabble-rousers.
Yeah, yes. I think that's very accurate.
But they definitely weren't any friends of Bradford. He did not like these people.
No, he didn't. He called, he wrote in a letter to a Mr. Cushing, I believe.
Yes.
Who had some sort of authority, I guess, over the colony back in England. But he basically says that Billington still rails against you and that he's a knave, which means a scoundrel. And he'll always be a knave. He'll live and die as so.
Yeah.
And as so, he'll live and die.
Yeah, that was Cushman, by the way.
Thank you.
Same thing. And he also said, he said they were one of the profanest families to come to the colony. And it wasn't just John. I mean, he didn't like any of them.
His kids were a bit of a handful, too. Well, one of them, it doesn't say who in the records, but on the way over, decided that he was going to shoot off his father's musket,
Yeah.
right? Gun, in a cabin filled with people, which is bad enough.
Right.
But he did it right next to a open, half-filled keg of gunpowder.
Right.
Right? So he almost just blew the whole Mayflower up.
Yeah, and history would have changed forever, probably.
So that was the first thing that happened with the Billingtons and the rest of the people on the Mayflower.
Yes.
No, actually, it wasn't. There was a mutiny that John Billington, the father, was involved in, and he was let off the hook because it was his first offense. But that started. Tensions were already high, and then one of his sons, either Francis or John Jr., shot off the gun in the cabin. So you start to get an impression of this family, especially when you look at, when you think of them bristling, not just the average person's,
Right.
ire,
Yeah.
but a Puritan's ire,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you can
it.
screw up like innumerable ways in the eyes of a Puritan.
Sure.
Especially if you're not a Puritan.
That's right. And then once they got to the New World, they continued their shenanigans. John Jr. kind of wandered off one day, 20 miles worth, and wandered into a Native American village.
Right.
And then he was taken to another village by those Native Americans, and eventually they sent out a group to go find him. It took them a little while. They set sail, actually, ended up on Cape Cod, what is now Cape Cod,
Yeah.
and said, you're going to have to come back.
Yes, and they found him because of Massasoit, who is the great sachem of the Wampanoag. Yeah, Wampanoag. We're getting an email for that one.
Yep.
Who was involved in the first Thanksgiving with these same people.
So he might have had something to do with that then, huh?
Well, he did. He was already he basically was trying to use the Englishmen against his rivals, I think the Abenaki, to basically run them out rather than consolidate with the other Indians against the English.
Gotcha.
And basically that turned over the whole continent to Europe. That one act is largely considered as the turning point.
Well, how about that?
So
then?
he was already pals with them.
Yeah.
So he helped him find the boy.
And if you're from Plymouth, if you live in the Plymouth area, then you might know Billington Sea, which is a pond, and that's named for John Jr.
Yeah, who wandered off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he might have found that. I mean, he discovered the pond, but he may have discovered it on his wander.
Right.
His sojourn.
Yeah.
If you will.
But they found him, and he was, quote, behung with beads. So apparently they, kind of adopted him a little bit. Like he was the mascot of the
Native
village.
Americans did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they gave him back.
Yeah.
And then I think the colonists gave the Indians a couple of knives and said thanks and went back to Plymouth.
Thanks for the beads and the guy.
But you have to imagine that mounting a 10-man sailing expedition into Indian country, because your kid wandered off, you're gonna rub the back of your neck and be like, thanks a lot,
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you're a Billington,
Oh,
be
sure.
like, thanks for getting my kid back. Do I owe you anything, or
Not so, though, because Billington had a bad reputation in that he scoffed at Captain Miles Standish, and you don't scoff at Standish.
Miles Standish proud.
Miles Standish was trying to get people to serve in the military, and Billington was like, "No, dude, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
He was a part of anti-government groups, government subversion.
Well, there was in 1624. There was what's called the Oldham and Lyford conspiracy. That was the name of the two main conspirators.
Uh-huh.
He was named as a co-conspirator. And reading his history, and then this, the actual history of this conspiracy, which is a lot of secret meetings about how they should overthrow this Puritan regime and start governing this colony the right way.
Right.
He was probably a part of it, but he denied it and was let off the hook again.
Well, and he was also apologized for for standing up against Standish. And they threatened him with hog tying, which can actually kill you. I didn't realize that.
I could see that because all your weight's on your chest, right?
Well, they tie your legs together, they tie your arms behind your back, and then they tie your ankles to your neck, around your neck.
What?
So unless you stay completely arched like that, you're going to start cutting off circulation. Like, it's a form of torture. It's not just, oh, we're going to tie you up.
Well, that whole second step has been kind of lost to history, as I understand it.
Well, now is it just tying the hands and legs?
Tie your hands and your wrists and your ankles together behind your back, and you're arched. But I don't know anything about tying the ankles around that's horrible.
Apparently the old hog tie was a little more brutal.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense.
Which also makes sense why he's described as basically like pleading for mercy not to have that happen to him. And
which is why they let him go.
Yeah, Miles Standish is like, all right, but get out of my sight, Billington.
Or we'll hog tie you.
And I mean, like, there's we can't forget, we can't leave out the fact that these people were original Plymouth colonists. Like, they were the first...
He's on the charter, right?
The first English European Americans, and the first, what would become one of the first states of America.
Yeah.
Like, these are important people, no matter what their reputations are.
Yeah.
He was the signer of the Mayflower Compact, which is the first European-based governing law, I guess you would call it, set of laws. And he helped hew the colony out of the wilderness. He was one of the colonists, right?
Yeah, and there's a PDF online I found that traces his family tree, and apparently James Garfield, the president, was a descendant of Billington.
Oh, yeah?
And I mean, I wish I would have written down some of the last names. I know Whitten was one of them. But, I mean, there were people that said, like, still alive today.
Oh, yeah. There's apparently, I remember researching this. I couldn't find it when I re-researched for this podcast. But there's like a whole group of people who are into that kind of thing who are proudly ancestors of Billington, this rabble-rouser, the first like real troublemaker in America.
Well, people are proud, period, just to be descendants of the Plymouth colonists, for sure.
Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody. Here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's U.S.-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, SimpliSafe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the SimpliSafe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the SimpliSafe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplisafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplisafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more. So, hopefully everybody has like kind of an idea of how Billington and his family were regarded, right?
Well, we didn't get to his wife and daughter. I know that was after what he did.
Go ahead,
but
yes.
His wife was, Eleanor was locked in the stocks and whipped at one point. She was also had to pay fines of £5 sterling because she was found guilty of slandering her neighbors. And his granddaughter, Dorcas.
I love that name.
There's only one way to pronounce that, right?
Yeah.
Dorcas.
Dorcas.
I'm going to bring that one back.
Yeah.
If I ever have a daughter, she's going to be Dorcas Bryant. Dorcas apparently was sentenced to whipping because she had sexual intercourse when she was 22 years old, and you didn't do that. So, the whole family was definitely not. They didn't fall in line with the rest of the crowd. Although that's not true, because a lot of the rest of the crowd was doing even worse things, as it turns out. You just didn't read it in the brochure.
Right. So, can we talk about some of the stuff that people were doing?
Please.
Okay. So remember, by 1690, there's still only 755 people in Plymouth Colony.
775.
Okay. So this stuff's happening like 20, 50 years before that. There are way fewer people.
Yeah.
And yet there were incidents where people like Thomas Granger, who was a servant, was indicted for buggery, which we established before it was bestiality, with a mare, a cow, 2 goats, diverse sheep, 2 calves, and a turkey.
Who he fell in love with.
He was sentenced to hang by or sentenced to die by hanging.
Wow.
John Walker the next year.
A turkey?
He laid with a bitch, as it's put, and of course we mean the dog. Well, the Pilgrims meant the dog, the female dog.
Sure.
Another guy was held on suspicion of buggery with a beast. Another guy had buggery with a mare, and it just keeps going on and going on. So basically, somebody would get caught sleeping with a dog and would be whipped, put into the stocks, pilloried, and it was just recorded but never talked about.
Yeah, there was also rape and sodomy against humans going on.
Yeah, the way they put sodomy was that they were these John Alexander and Thomas Roberts back in 1637 were caught, and they got the hot irons, which that's rough.
So you hear about this stuff and you think Dorcas doing, sleeping with a man, I presume, is a very normal thing for a 22-year-old middle-aged woman to do at the time.
Yes.
She's not laying down with turkeys.
No. So Eleanor got put in the stocks for slander, right?
Yeah.
But there's no recording of what she said, or basically we've reached this point here where we should probably talk about what John Billington did.
Okay. Because now that we've debunked the fact that not everyone was super pure, and you can't necessarily read Mort's relation, the brochure, and say, everything was just hunky-dory over there. Maybe this is why the movie hasn't been made. Right. Because who wants to see a guy sleeping with a turkey?
No, I don't know. I think you get your
There's
hands
a market
on those
for that
kind of movies. You paid a lot for it. You know what I'm saying?
There's a market for that, but it's not box office grossing record-breaking numbers.
No, Peter Weir wouldn't touch that one, right?
Not with a 10-foot pole.
So we should probably talk about how Billington became America's first murderer. It took place 10 years after he got there. So you have to think, like, this guy's an original settler, and he's been farming and hewing an existence out for himself and other people. And as an original Mayflower Compact signer, he got a bunch of land parceled to him. Like, this is Billington's land now.
So, he made an enemy, clearly one real enemy. He made quite a few, Bradford being one of them, but he made one enemy named John Newcomen, who was a newcomer, as it turns out, to Plymouth. He hadn't been there for 10 years. And it seems like history is a little sketchy because, like you said, it's not all recorded at that point. But one thing I read was it was possibly over hunting rights, and I don't know how true that is.
It is very true.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. There's when I was going back and reading the source material for this, I'm like, why was I so vague when I wrote this article?
Oh, because did it confirm that?
Yeah, well, so in the Bradford's version, basically is like this: that Billington waylaid Newcomen, right?
We should explain what waylaid is.
Waylaid is like basically lying in wait and then murdering.
Yeah, like hiding in the bush and then
it's ambushing somebody.
Premeditated.
Premeditated. That's huge. if you read a stranger's account, there's an account by a stranger, and I don't know who. It's not in the source I cited, but it talks about how Newcomen was already known to Billington because he used to steal from Billington's traps. He poached on his land.
Okay.
And Billington had chased the kid off a bunch of times. Newcomen was 17 at the time.
Gotcha. So he was a little jerk.
Basically. And he was what the strangers called a saint, which meant you were in good with Bradford because you were a Puritan. And compared to a stranger, you had exponentially more rights and you got away with exponentially more stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay? So here's Billington, who already has a bad reputation, and there's some little 17-year-old punk kid stealing from his traps who he's chased off time and time and time again. And he catches him there. So he goes after him with his gun. And the kid goes and hides behind a tree, and Billington shoots at the tree. I don't know if he meant to shoot at the kid. Apparently he was a pretty good marksman. But he hit the kid in the shoulder.
Right.
Not exactly a lethal shot today.
Sure.
Well, the kid died in like 3 days of an infection. That's how America's first murder took place.
And it was apparently with a blunderbuss. Have you ever heard of these guns?
Is that the one with the big
Yeah, it's
muzzle?
sort of...
like you see Elmer Fudd as a pilgrim hunting with?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's not like an elephant gun, but it does flare out at the end. And it's sort of like what would be considered today is sort of like a sawed-off shotgun. So like it was a musket, but it was short and flared. And so I imagine it had a wider spray, even though it wasn't... Well, it wouldn't be a spray because they didn't use pellets, but they compared it to a sawed-off shotgun in what I read.
Hand on the pump.
Exactly.
Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody. Here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's U.S.-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, SimpliSafe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the SimpliSafe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the SimpliSafe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplisafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplisafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more. Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic. So that's how the first murder took place. I get the impression Billington, who is also described as beloved by many, in another account by a stranger, kind of a satirical take on Plymouth Colony.
Yeah, Thomas Morton in the New English Canon said that he was a beloved dude.
He was beloved by many. Basically, if you were a stranger, you probably like Billington.
He sounded like a kind of a fun guy, to be honest.
Right.
I know he's the first murderer, but
yeah.
He's a rabble-rouser.
Yes.
I tend to associate with those types.
Well, Billington thinks that because of the fact that they need people there still.
Yeah.
Each individual is very important. And that this kid had been, really it was the kid's fault that he was on his property. Billington had warned him off that he would be spared his life. Well, no. Governor Bradford himself was the one who ordered him to death.
Yeah, he didn't like him to begin with.
Right.
And now he had his chance.
Right. So this is what you could call unfair to a certain extent.
Perhaps.
And not only did Bradford sentence his longtime enemy or somebody he disdained for many years to death, he was also the one who literally wrote the history. In addition to, Mort's what?
Mort's retort. Not Mort's retort, I was kidding. Mort's relation.
Okay. So in addition to Mort's relation, the other probably largest cited firsthand account of Plymouth Plantation is called Of Plymouth Plantation. It's Bradford's own journal. So he literally wrote the history for Plymouth. And, of course, he's going to paint it he's going to paint himself and his fellows in the best light. And that's what we go on.
And Billington in a poor light because he sentenced him to hang.
Yeah. So I think, if anything, this was the episode intended to tell you to always take historical accounts with a grain of salt.
Especially the old ones.
There's always 2 sides to every story. And the Three Stooges actually get better as you age.
Stuff you should know.
Yeah. You got anything else?
Nope.
If you want to learn more about America's First Murderer, type America's First Murderer. America. I'm having trouble saying that these days. You can type that in the handy. You can type wherever you want, but you're going to get the best result if you type it in the handy search bar at howstuffworks.com.
Sure.
And that, of course, brings up listener mail.
Yes, Josh. I'm going to call this nicotine poisoning from Aaron. A couple of years ago, guys, I came home from university to find my Kiwi roommate working away in the kitchen. He decided to bake brownies for the first time, and I hurried upstairs to try some because he wanted to support his friend.
Okay.
Quickly, I was overwhelmed by a sour taste, which was only mildly canceled out by the cherries, which were mixed in with the batter. I was very close to spitting it out when my roommate walked in and said, "What do you think?" I didn't want to insult him, so I popped the rest of it in my mouth and said, "Could use a little more sugar." I left the room, and that's when everything got hazy. What I do remember is my roommates bursting into my room.
This is crazy.
They found me curled up into a ball with my head between my knees, rocking slowly. I was covered in sweat and muttering to myself, letting out loud moans, which is apparently what alerted my roommates. When they opened the door, they flooded the room with light, caused intense pain in my head, and for some reason in my stomach. Not really thinking, I bolted to the bathroom and induced vomiting, trying to get all the evil out of me. I was exhausted, laying on the floor, trying to figure out what was wrong. Apparently, there were 2 boxes on the table. Did you read this one?
No.
One containing brownies, and one with shisha tobacco destined for the hookah.
Oh, wow.
That they kept in their house bar.
Not good.
In my haste, I accidentally consumed about 3 ounces of cherry tobacco mix that was destined for the hookah. Not sure exactly how much nicotine my body absorbed in the hour or so it was in me, but when I stood up, I promptly passed out, and according to my roommate, started convulsing on the floor. They wanted to take me to the hospital, of course, but I refused, being the bull-headed Midwesterner I sometimes can be, or the college student who doesn't want to pay for that kind of thing.
Right.
When I did go to the hospital the next morning, explained the situation to the ER tech, they immediately took my vitals and said I was lucky to have survived without any serious complications, that it very well could have been a fatal dose.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And all I can say is, if you're ever in the same situation, err on the side of caution, call poison control right away.
Yep.
And he's lucky that his roommates, one of them had EMT training, because it could have gone the other way, and Aaron might not be a fan of our podcast today.
Man.
He ate hookah tobacco, popped it in his mouth, and said it needs a little more sugar.
Wow. Aaron, I'm glad you made it.
Poor guy.
If you had I'm very glad he's around.
Yeah.
So, okay. And if you are a member of the Billington clan by blood somehow, or marriage, whatever, we want to hear from you. Send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever. We can play games with astronauts, wild animals, and superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs! Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
You know, you could be adored by everyone and still completely ignored by your cat. Trust me, I know. But if you feed your cat Sheba, you can go from being ignored to truly adored in 12 days guaranteed or your money back. Sheba has a full menu of products, appetizers, entrees, treats, even a kitten's menu. It's so cute, so Sheba has a product for even the pickiest eater. Like Sheba Puree, it's made with bone broth, their chef-inspired flavors. It's got a smooth and creamy texture that cats love and contains no corn, wheat, soy, or artificial flavors. It's food that your cat's gonna love. To learn more, check out Sheba.com. That's SHEBA.com.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.